the one-eyed man in the land of the blind. Just need one brain in Parliament. You ready?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm Johnny Engineer Turmel. This is my 58th election in 25 years. I started because I wanted to legalize gambling and prostitution and drugs because I didn't think they should be cop-related offenses. Then I found out about interest rates and how the banks would lend us all 10 and make us all have to pay 11 at the end of the game. And since we all only got 10 and they only printed 10 and we owe 11, someone always gets knocked out of the mortgage, which comes from the Latin mort, meaning death, and gage, meaning gamble. So like a mortuary and like a gamble, mortgage, death, gamble, everybody borrows 10, everybody owes 11. At the end of the mortgage, one daddy gets foreclosed on, loses the house, and that kid's got no allowance. But the chartered banks, sure, they charge interest because they got depositors. But the Bank of Canada has no depositors, and therefore the Bank of Canada can run an interest-free software so that everybody can open an account with the big Bank of Canada in the sky, borrow interest-free what you need to pay off your interest-bearing debts based on the same collateral, have one new number, and after that every payment goes against principal, and no matter how slow the payment, you're eventually out of debt. Only interest keeps people drowning in debt forever, and if we reprogram the Bank of Canada's computer to offer online interest-free bank accounts based on time, then we can all settle our debts. And that's just what the Our Father says in the Bible. Give us today tomorrow's bread and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. So Jesus said if no one's chasing you for debts, and you're not chasing nobody for debts, and you got tomorrow's bread, that's heaven. Well, the day you got an account with the Bank of Canada, and only the Bank of Canada, and everybody else too, you're never chasing for debts, no one's chasing you for debts, and that's heaven. We can have it now by reprogramming the top bank. Now, I don't know if I don't want to give tape after I've talked like this because people can tell it's different. It makes me sharper. Makes me play my accordion sharper.
Want to do it over here?
Yeah. I was just clearing rocks out of the lane for the cars. Okay, and you saw the rocks. Please look. Okay. Someone come. See those rocks over there? Right on the curb? Got those cement pieces of 2-3 inch thick black at the base of the yellow there? Well, some truck had gone by and dropped these big pieces of rock on the road, and they were blocking the road. So I went across the street, and when the light was there, and some person complained that I was in the traffic. Okay, so we're talking about the travails of the political independent, knocking on doors and doing politics. Well, let's see. Yesterday there's the angry guy on the 4th floor who didn't like hearing my voice down in the street and started screaming at me and told me to get out of there and threw an empty bottle at me from the floor, plastic bottle, and missed. And when he came down later and wanted to tell me some more, I just said, sorry, what can I do? This is the spot where I gotta be. It only happens one time every 4 years. Anyway, he went away, and this morning got mad again. Yesterday 2 days ago, I had a bunch of kids being sicked on me by some idiot across the street telling them to come and spit on me. And one kid was coming at me and let go a goober, and I got my sign in the way, and I went over there and I kicked the front of his wheel to push him backwards. Next thing you know, there's a cop coming at me. Leave the kid alone. Wow, wonderful. I said, the kid's spitting on me. Cop says, I don't care. Leave the kid alone. Well, anyway, I didn't know what to do. What if they come back again? You know, am I going to have to sue him for civil damages if he spits on my coat? Well, I'm going to tell him if he spits on my coat, I'm going to bust his bike and I'm going to bust his spokes, and he can sue me back. I figured it's the only thing to do. Anyway, they didn't show up, luckily. So instead, yesterday, I end up with a cop on my back, Officer Butterfield, who decides that my stepping onto the roadway to hand people a piece of paper had to be ticketed, and so he gave me a $70 ticket, probably a first in Canadian history, cop busting a political candidate for solicit person and vehicle on roadway against the Safe Streets Act. And of course, I'm not stupid enough to get in the way of the cars and impede. I'm just handing out things to the drivers. And for the last 2 days, I've had to lean over and stay on the curb, miss a few people who were too far away, you know, just because some officer decides he wants to push me around. You know, anyway, I did a report online. You can read it at my site, but you're allowed to plead not guilty, and have a trial, which I'm going to do, in English or in French, which I'm going to do in French. Har, 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 I speak French. And let's see how well they handle a French trial in Brantford. And of course, then you got the media, and they were sleazy. I remember telling my best joke brought the house down, and they reported that Turmel was laughed at instead of his joke. I mean, the story is as simple as it was a women's group, 75 women out of 100 people, and they say, why aren't more women in Parliament, and what would your party do to get more women? And all the other parties said, yes, we need more women in Parliament, we're all working towards that. And I said, well, I don't care as long as the process is fair. But how come there aren't more women in Parliament? Could it be that Parliament's corrupt? Could it be that Parliament's sleazy? And by now the women know where I'm going and they're laughing. Could it be that there aren't as many women willing to get down in the dirt with the corporate pigs as men? By now the women are rolling in the aisles, and I turn to the 3 women candidates out of 6 and say, but they're learning. And the rest of the house came down. And Alison von Bargen, the reporter for the Expositor, wrote that Turmel was laughed at. Well, some nights the audience is in the palm of your hands, and I came up with 3-4 solid, good, witty jokes, and that was a real sleazy distortion by the media. So it's kind of sad when the media not only give all their attention to the major parties, but then they smear you and distort what you say, even when they think you don't have a chance of winning. Isn't that terrible? They couldn't even tell the truth about the guy they don't expect to win. So anyway, that's what politics is like in Canada. And but then again, handing out flyers right on the corner to people, looking them in the eye and saying, this is important, vote for me. Especially when you say legalize marijuana. Good joke is old guys for legal marijuana, they all smile. And if they got kids, you say, hey, save the kids from Prozac, marijuana muffins are herbal. And they all like that too. So who knows what kind of response I'm going to get. I'll honestly be able to say I'll have handed out 5,000 flyers over the campaign. Let's have an idea of how many votes each flyer could have scored. But if the kids who got the flyers, and I always beg them, explain it to your brain-dead parents, that the Tories and the Liberals are going to double the penalties for marijuana, make it tougher for everybody to get it, make it tougher and more expensive for sick people to get it, and voting for